The whole thing, nature is a puppet. You see, we are all puppets, like it or not. You have no free will, no freedom of action. That's the cause of man's sorrow. Well, I have said my piece. And
who's pulling the strings?
You.
Are we just chemical machines?
You are, you see, a biological being, like it or not, you see. You know, nature has no use for anything else.
We seem to think
Reshuffling of, huh?
We seem to think we have
You
freedom.
seem to think that's the unfortunate part somewhere along the line, you see. I don't even know if there is any such thing as evolution, but we assume and presume that there is. The human species experienced for the first time this self-consciousness. When I use the word self-consciousness, I don't mean in the sense in which you all use the self, that there is an entity, center, self. It is just like, you know, the self-starter is
Come on, Sunny, come
in the
in.
car. So he felt and experienced for the first time the separateness from, you see, the nature around him, the life around him. And otherwise, you have to treat the whole of nature as a single unit. We are not created for any special purpose, the human species, you see. You know, what is that word? Fortuitous concourse of atoms, you know. If there is a shortage of atoms anywhere in the universe, the nature will use all these human bodies to maintain its the energy level somewhere else, you know. But unfortunately, the culture, the society, or whatever you want to call it, superimposed on it what we call thinking, you see. You know. But we have, I don't want to give a talk, we have to ask the fundamental, basic question, what thinking is, and why do we think? These are the two important questions which we have to ask. We take it for granted, unfortunate but nevertheless true, that the thoughts are not spontaneous, they are not self-generated. You see, they always come from outside, and it's not that I have a special insight into the human brain, but from what has happened to me, what I have stumbled into, made it possible for me to realize that the human brain is just a reactor and a converter and not a creator, you see. So the thought responds to the stimuli and translates them in terms of your ideas and then feelings, emotions, etc., etc. So it is a unitary movement. You can never separate yourself from the totality of things around you. And what separates you from the totality of things, the nature, or whatever you want to call it, is the thought. What is thought? Are there thoughts? That is my question. Are there thoughts? Let alone what is thought? What is there is only about thoughts, you see. You know, but no thoughts.
But we tend to give meaning to things. I guess that's where...
You can define a thought, but basically there is no such thing as a thought at all. What is there is only about thought, you see. You have no way of separating yourself from thought and looking at thought, you see. I don't know if you have ever tried it, you see. So, can you separate yourself from your thought and look at it? You see, the very question that we are asking is absurd because we assume and presume that there are thoughts and that we can separate ourselves from thought and look at it. Why the hell do you want to indulge in such a frivolity of separating yourself from thought and look at thought?
Well, my friend Vita will tell me that we do know there are thoughts. And,
But how do you know?
How do you know?
Yes,
Perhaps by
from the
another
knowledge that is passed on to us from generation to generation. But we don't care what others say, but what do you have to say? I don't want a definition from you.
No.
No.
But
I don't care what Socrates said, what Jesus said, what Buddha said, or what any philosopher said, or even what scientists say today. You see, fools rush in where angels fear to tread. That is, I can hazard an opinion that the quest of these scientists for the fundamental particle is not going to be successful at all, because there is no such thing as a fundamental particle at all. Because nothing ever was created, nothing ever is disappear. Nothing ever is born, nothing ever dies. That's the way the things are functioning. So if you are lucky enough to stumble into a situation where this stranglehold of thought is not there anymore, you will realize, you see what I am saying. You see, it's not an experience. It's not part of my experiencing structure. I have not captured anything within the framework of this experiencing structure and talking about. It is not something that I can say I know. You see, there is another kind of a knowing, if I may use that word, just the way, you see, the body knows that it is functioning. But you and I know the function of the body in a different way, and that too is through the help of the knowledge that is given to us by the doctors who have observed certain things. And the heart does not know that it is pumping blood. You see, the body does not know that it is alive. The body does not know that it is dead. It has no way of experiencing those two things. So for all practical purposes, death does not exist. You have no way of finding out for yourself and by yourself the fact that you are alive or dead. So I've said a lot of things are now common.
Huh? Is that what you're expressing a thought? That's what you think?
No, that's not what I think. This is not born out of my thinking, or it's not out of a logically ascertained premise that I'm talking about. You can brush all this aside and say it's nonsense. Goodbye and good luck to you. That's all that I can say.
It seems to me that the basis on which we say that there is anything, in order to say it at all, you have to use some knowledge, or else you can't say anything.
There is no need for any there is no need for any communication at all. You see. Yeah. So that is why I asked the question at the very beginning: why do we think? See, why do we think? There is thinking only when you want to know something. Wanting is thinking. So that's the very beginning. I want to know something about myself. I want to know whether I am alive or dead. You see, that is itself an idiotic question. There's no reason for a living thing to pose that question to itself. It knows that it is alive. You see, it has no meaning, that kind of a statement. It is a dead thing. Thought is dead, you see. So it's the dead thing that wants to know something about the living. So it can never make the living thing part of the dead structure.
So the way you want us to know is not what ordinarily how we know things. You expect us to think in order to know anything we have to be directly in contact, in communication with that thing.
Now that's a very misleading statement you are making, because you see, we have been brainwashed to believe that there is some way that you can have a living contact with the thing. You see, there is no way you can experience anything, especially the one that is living, through the help of this experiencing structure. You see, the experience is born out of the knowledge that is passed on to us. The only instruments we have at our disposal is the sensory perceptions. You see, senses do not tell you anything. The stimulus and response is one unitary movement. So you cannot say that this is a response to a particular stimulus. So the fact that we are talking about, you see, this activity which is a unitary movement in terms of stimulus and response becomes possible only through the help of the knowledge that is passed on to us. Probably, you see, if you go to a laboratory, the physician will, you see, knock something here, and it's because of this that you see you have this particular response, you see, to the stimulus. But that's not going to be of much help to us except to communicate to ourselves and communicate to somebody through this knowledge that is given to us, you see. So, are there any responses to this? Are there any stimuli? I even question that, you see. How do we know that this is a response to that stimuli? The eyes are focused on that. It doesn't say that it is a bright light. You see that this is responding to that light. It is one unitary movement. Whatever is there is reflecting. Reflecting what is there. So to put it this way also is misleading, because you think that I am saying all these things out of the experience I have, which is not the experience that we all experience through the help of this knowledge. It is only a reflection. I put these things in this way only to give you a feel that if you and I were functioning in exactly the same way, and you are also functioning in exactly the same way, there is nothing that you can do to be, say, in this way I am functioning. That is the way every human body is functioning, and human body is not separate from the light there. I am not talking in terms of the Vedantic sense. There is no way you can separate yourself from that. What separates you from that, and what makes me say all those things, is to use the knowledge that is given to me, and you see, to explain those things, emphasizing that this need to separate yourself from that and maintain the continuity of it is meaningless, is useless, unless we want to maintain the demand for the continuity of the knowledge. And the demand can be fulfilled only through this repetitive process of applying the knowledge and experiencing the same thing. So there is no such thing as a new experience at all. I have said a lot.
The experiencing structure is built into us.
Yes.
The rest of us.
Where is it? Where is that? I said at the very beginning, it is responding to the stimuli. All that comes from outside, you see. The culture, the society, or whatever you want to call it, you see. I want to use the word, for want of a more adequate expression, the world mind. You see, the world mind means the totality of man's experiences, thoughts, and feelings. And that is passed on from generation to generation. And I maintain, I have no way I can, you see, make this definitive statement that it is also transmitted from generation to generation through the genes. But the world mind I am talking about has created you and me for the sole purpose and main purpose of maintaining its status quo. That's all it is interested in. So without the use of that knowledge, the world mind, you have no way of experiencing your separateness from that. And the very fact that you are alive is also cannot be experienced without the help of that. Your existence as you know yourself, as you experience yourself, is possible only through the help of that. Just the way I have to feed myself to have energy to keep this physical body going, you have to use that, the world mind, to maintain your continuity as, you see, a separate entity.
But those of us who are familiar with philosophy, what you're saying is quite familiar in the form of skepticism. If knowledge is not the way we know about anything, and if direct acquaintance we have no possibility.
No, I'm sorry, I said knowledge is the only way and there is no other way. And even to bother about experiencing the reality of things without the help of this knowledge is an exercise in, the word I picked up, total futility.
All right. The third thing we picked out from what you were saying is, from our acquaintance with philosophy, we know that any skepticism is based on certain presuppositions, and we're used to questioning those presuppositions. Now we come back to you and say, how do you know that thought is doing this operating? Is that a piece of knowledge?
No.
In which case we're back in square number one.
The question, how do you know, how demands to know. You see, otherwise you won't ask the question. How implies that you want to know, and whereas I am emphasizing that your attempt to understand the reality of anything and experience anything outside the field of that knowledge is an exercise in futility. So don't even bother about trying to find out the reality of anything. See, we have to take it for granted. The reality that is imposed on us by culture. You see, otherwise I have no way of functioning in this world sanely and intelligently. So I accept the reality of the world as it is imposed on me for purposes of communication. And that communication is only simple things, as where can I get the water, how can I get to this place, island, whatever is your number. These are the only questions that I am interested in, but not ask the questions about reality, the ultimate reality, and so on and so forth. there is no how, that's all that I am saying. The very fact that we are asking the question how to live is the one that has created the problem. And the problem is the human values that are imposed on us. You see, they are false. So it has falsified, you see, our lives, but we are not ready to brush them all aside. You see, there is no way you can do it. That is possible, you think, only through the help of a new mode of thinking. So I'm not suggesting that there is no other way of thinking, you see, other than the way we are thinking. And that thinking is the one that has created the problems, and through that you cannot resolve this problem at all. Thinking it can only create the problems, and it cannot help us to solve the problems. And because we have tremendous faith in our thinking, and that thinking has helped us to create everything, we still have a tremendous faith in that, and we hope that through the help of that we will be able to solve the problems that thinking has created.
But isn't thinking a natural phenomenon? I mean, you seem to say that it's not. I mean, is it not a physiological thing, a property of the brain that it thinks?
No, that's all that I'm saying. It's not the property of the brain. The brain is only a reactor and not a creator.
So it's not a thinker. I mean,
It is not. There is no thinking at all. The brain is not involved in thinking at all. Another thing, you will be surprised. What, after all, is man? Man is a memory. You see, we don't still have the answers for the question, what part these neurons play, see, in memory, and what memory is. The other day I was discussing with a neurosurgeon, and he said, how you have stumbled into this, what you are talking about is something extraordinary, because we have now more or less come to a tentative conclusion that every sense has a different memory, you see. So the eye has a memory of its own somewhere, the listening mechanism has a memory of its own, and there is no such thing as a totality, you see, of the memory. And brain is not interested in translating any of those sensations for the purposes of maintaining its status quo, you see. So all experiences which we consider to be extraordinary, the bliss, the beatitude, the love, the compassion, are a menace for this body, because it is not interested in that, it is throwing them all out, you see. That is the reason why there is pain. See, when once you have an extraordinary experience, a pleasurable feeling, and that demands the permanence. You see, the demand for the permanence is something which the nervous system cannot take it. So what we call pleasure is pain for the body. As far as the body or its responses are concerned, both are the same, whether it is pleasure or pain. But the moment you translate it into a particular sensation as a pleasurable sensation, the demand to make it last longer goes with it. So it is trying to throw out, so what you call pleasure is turned into pain by you, and it is, you see, something that the body is trying to throw out. You see, it is not interested in enjoying any of these pleasurable sensations at all.
But then when the person is born, when the organism is born, are you saying that the brain will not think at all, and only the society puts in the values?
It all depends upon, you see, what you mean by thinking. I think even animals do a sort of thinking, in the sense that the dog knows that you are the master, you are not the master. The dog knows its way back home. You see, that is what you want to call it thinking, you see, is altogether a different thing. But what you mean by thinking is to use thoughts put in by the society, culture, or whatever you want to call, to achieve certain goals. You see, so you place the so-called spiritual goals on a higher level.
So you're thinking about purpose, you're talking about
achieving a goal. Achieving a goal. It doesn't matter what the goal is, happiness. You see, we are not concerned about God, truth, reality, enlightenment, and all that stuff. You see, we can brush that all aside. But everybody, whether he's here or in India or in America or Australia, God knows, Russia, is only interested in one thing. That is happiness without even one moment of unhappiness. Pleasure without one moment of pain. That's what everybody wants. And so our God, enlightenment, you see, all that stuff is the ultimate pleasure, you see, placed before us as a goal. And the instrument which you are using to achieve your so-called spiritual goals, permanent happiness, permanent bliss, eternal happiness, God knows what, is the same instrument that everybody is, even the thief there in the prison is using exactly the same instrument to get out of that prison. The one which you are using to achieve your spiritual goal, it's matter. You see, thought is matter. So all your spiritual goals are materialistic, you see. When you go to a temple or church, what do? You see, you ask your prayers. What are your prayers? You want this, you want that, you want material goods. If you don't want material goods, you want spiritual goods. If you don't want spiritual goods, some eternal goods and God.
Are you saying this is a survival mechanism that has gone in the wrong direction?
Survival mechanism that is necessary for the survival of this body is already there. You don't have to do anything about it.
Then why is it there? Why is the demand there?
The demand is introduced by culture. That's all that I am pointing out. It's the tragedy of man. Why it occurred is an idiotic question which we ask. Why it occurred, this self-consciousness or separateness from the totality of life around, is a meaningless question. It is there, you see. It is that is responsible for my misery, you know. Sorry.
No.
I'm giving a lecture.
I have to go back to square
All right,
one.
we go back to
Philosophers have
may I ask you? You are all philosophers. You are all philosophers.
Square one says.
We are all philosophers. You see, I wanted to be one. I'm a dropout now.
Square one says.
No. You see, the philosophy has nothing to tell us about anything.
Unfortunately, but we want to get out of philosophy.
It offers
We're
us
trying to
no
get out.
guidelines to improve our lives, to make our lives better. It only helps us to, you see, use that instrument, sharpen that instrument.
Yeah.
So you have to produce
That's-
philosophers like
We are
you,
used to calling
and
it intellectual masturbation.
we can find out some other refined word, maybe.
But with our square number one says, listen, when you started talking about, we thought we were in a certain game playing called knowledge game. You asked us how do you know whether there are such things as thoughts? That's the initial question. If there are such things as thoughts, is the first question, then do you know whether there are such things as thoughts? In which case, of course, we wonder if we knew, then we would be doubtful. Then if you came and gave some explanation about how we know or didn't know anything about it, then it looks like we can turn the question around and ask, how do you know?
And I know, that is the question that see, I have to face ultimately. You see,
So
how do you know? So I am telling you that question wouldn't be there if, you see, you got the hang of it all. You see, the fact that you are still throwing that question at me implies that, you see, I have wasted my breath.
Yeah.
You see, not that, no, listen.
The problem is...
No, it's not my
we want to
problem.
get out of that game, but
No,
we somehow
you
have
see, listen,
difficulty.
my problem is, it's not a problem. How I stumbled into it is something which I myself don't know. You see, that is my problem. It's not that I cannot communicate, but there is nothing to be... That's the reason why I'm lately using these peanuts. You see, very interesting. How it happened, why it happened, when it happened, I tried to answer all those questions. And I forgot the last question you asked. Has anything happened to... You see, so has anything happened? I really don't know. Really don't know. I have no way. So that's the reason why I cannot, communicate anything to anybody, because this is not within the field of the experiencing structure at all, you know. If it were, it would be like any other experience.
You see, the dialogue is becoming so impossible for just this reason. We think you're playing our game of knowledge, and you're telling us knowledge is a disease, and we're asking you, how do you know that? It's simple to summarize the whole discussion.
Summarize it, sir, then we would...
And we don't know what's going on. In other words, there's a complete blockage of communication between us folks, philosophers, and you.
Yeah, that's bound to be there, you see, because there is no way we can communicate with anybody unless you have a reference point there.
That's the
You
problem.
see, the reference point is very important.
You seem to come out to say some things, and we translate that as part of our game of knowledge.
Yes.
And If you deny that, then we don't know what you're saying, and nor do you know what we are saying.
We can say nice meeting you all and goodbye. We have had a
And see if we
nice lunch. No, I'm not.
How do we get us out of this disease?
It's
If you
not
think
my
it is a
interest.
disease of
You
knowledge,
see, I am not here to instruct you. I am not here to entertain you. I am not here to enlighten you. I am not here to suggest other modes of thinking. You see, I have no illusion that, you see, this dialogue is going to be of any help to anybody. You see, nor is it, you see, an intellectual dialogue. We sit here and discuss whether the chair is still there in the room or not. Go out and discuss for hours and hours. You see, that has no meaning. You see.
But do you feel a need to tell this to
No,
people?
I don't even have the impetus to talk, to express myself. You see, this is a. See, I gave the simile of a machine gun here. You see, a machine gun. This is a self-activated machine gun, like this voice-activated tape recorder I have. You see, so any movement, you see, of thought anywhere around, it just shoots down. Its interest is not, you see, to shoot it for the reason or purpose of that something extraordinary will happen as a result of this shooting. The machine gun is not even conscious of the fact that it is activated by the movement that is there around it, and then it's shooting at random.
It seems to make sense that we understand you. I feel like
You
there's
haven't
something
understood
intuitive. I feel like, no, I really do. I feel like
There is
there's
no
something
such thing.
intuitive that's happening.
There is no such thing as art of listening, art of
Not
seeing,
listening.
no listening.
Why does what you say make sense sometimes? It seems to. We can talk about it for hours. I know we always do.
You can do a better job than I can ever hope to. You see, you are educated. I am not. I am an illiterate village bumpkin. Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you,
Yes, sir.
do you think, how do you define life? Because you're defining non-life, therefore there has to be a life, right? So how do you define it?
What is the point in capturing something living within the framework of a deck structure and define it?
But on defining it, on defining it, you're
What
defining
purpose?
it.
Why do you want to define life?
What? Because why do you want not to define it?
Well,
You're talking about
we are
knowledge.
all defining life all the time.
You mean
see.
you want to
How
pass
to
through-
live? You see, I don't know a thing about life. The life never asks the question I said in the very beginning is, am I alive or dead? You see, so if you asked me the question, are you alive? I would say, certainly I'm alive, because of all these definitions, because of all the information that is given to me by the doctors, you see. And you, see, because you are sitting here, you are talking, you are responding to the stimuli, you are doing all kinds of things. So you are very much alive. I'm good, I'm delighted that I'm alive. But the fact that I am alive is very difficult for me to experience that. What is that? You see, what is life? I really don't know. It is expressing itself. The expression of life is energy. You are the expression of life. I am the expression of life. The mosquito, if there is, that is the expression of life. Everything that is there around is the expression of the same life. See, there is an integral unity, but unfortunately we separate ourselves, and we have given to ourselves the tremendous idea that we are quite different, placed ourselves on the top of the whole creation, which we are not. We are nothing in the scheme of things. You are no more important. All of us, all these human bodies will be used by nature because it needs this energy somewhere else. You see, if not cancer, if not AIDS, there will be something else. It will wipe us all out. You can have any number of doctors in this world. They are not going to do it. It's not a pessimistic, you see, the energy level, you see, you are no more important in the scheme of things, but through our thinking we are made to believe that we are something extraordinary, that we have souls, that we have got soul, you see,
I think that's
life.
the thought that you presuppose that people have. I didn't say that I was important in life. I know that.
The fact that
Because
you
I
want
know
to
it's
know,
a process.
the fact that you want to know something about life
Sure.
implies that, you see,
And all
I
that
am
you're doing,
suggesting,
you want to know too.
I
It's
have
a
no way of
research.
knowing. I don't even ask that question. It
See,
is living all the time.
I think the difficulty is becoming more and more clear.
Yes.
That is, whatever you say, sometimes we seem to understand, as Jean was saying, and sometimes we don't. We agree with you. one way or the other, we are able to put it in some kind of structure, and we'll come back to dialogue with you from that structure, and you say, you're not in that structure.
We have decided, sir, at the very beginning and in the middle, and probably we will come to the same conclusion at the end, if there is a beginning, if there is an end, that there is no way you can, you and I can establish any contact on any level, and I go one step further and say, there is no need for us to do that.
Would you say that our bodies are reactors?
The brain, I said.
No.
You see, first of all, the division of that unit, if I may call it, which is not separate from, you see, the whole nature, does not divide itself into brain, into cells, into heart, you see, or all those divisions. It's for the doctor, you see, to localize, you see, a particular part of the body, to understand, to know more and more about it. Otherwise, you see, you will be surprised that, you see, every cell in the body has a memory of its own now. You see, so its interest is survival. So it knows, he will ask me the question, it knows that its survival depends upon the survival of the cell next to it. You see, that's the reason why there is a cooperation. Our phony culture says that you must love your neighbor, that you see, the love neighbor as thyself, that cooperation is extraordinary, something we should all cooperate with everybody. That's all phony baloney. But here it knows in its own way, and that knowing is only for the survival. It is selfish to its very core. The unfortunate situation we find ourselves in is the creation of some selfless, you see, thing there out there. So it is that is responsible for the misery, but not the selfishness that is very essential for its survival. This selfishness, which is part and parcel of the living unit here, cannot harm anything.
I have a question.
Yes.
You say that you're not quite sure about evolution, therefore the other source we would be created. Either way. So it means that there is a creator if there is no evolution.
There is no creator. No, that's the logical thinking has to. That's what I said at the very beginning. There are no beginnings, there are no ends. Nothing is ever created, so nothing will ever die. So, you see, what has created this problem for us is the thinking that has created the space and time. You see, it has created time. Thought is time. So the moment you see, you fix a point here, you create another point. So the space, the span of space is created by thought. So you have to invent a creator. The logical thinking cannot accept that anything and everything and the whole thing around us can be a causal. So it's a projection of our own thinking that there must be a creator. You see, that is the problem of these scientists also today. See, the Big Bang theory they are talking about, the fundamental particle that they are talking about, they are not going to find out. You see, it's going on and on and on and on, because there is no way you can capture that. The more you find out, it's useful. You see, you can get your doctorates and your Nobel laureates. And that's all that is the usefulness of all these scientists, because we admire the scientists and think of pure science as something extraordinary because it has given us all this, the technology.
We're not going to capture it. That implies that it does exist. Maybe we're not capturing, but
if you don't capture, it doesn't exist.
that does not.
An experience that cannot be experienced by you, there is no experience other than what you experience. So there must be a point here. That point is the thought, and in relationship
even
with that,
for the assertion of the existence of anything.
anything.
So
why do you talk about the unitary movement of life then, knowing that our thought structure won't allow us to
You have
think
to
about such
you
a
have to
thing?
fight. You have to stay miserable.
So,
There is no way out.
I think
Sorry,
now
I'm on your side.
When you said earlier that nature is something that uses
Us,
human beings,
we allow ourselves.
then nature
What?
has a purpose then?
No. It may not. If it has, we don't know. It may not have any purpose. But because of this demand to create a purpose, you see, an origin of everything, we mess up things. You see, the more we understand nature, the more we discover the laws of nature, the more dangerous we have become. You see, you may say that there is a tremendous progress in the world. I give this simile. I have known the United States for 40 years. First time I came here in 1949, if I remember right. It took almost 24 hours. And then you see 18 hours, 12 hours, 6 hours, 3.5 hours. If hypersonic planes are put into operation, we'll be able to do it in 1.5 hours. Right. So then what? You see how many planes we use to destroy life and property. So you call this progress? I don't call this progress. Why do you take advantage of this? Do you want me to go back to the bullock cart age of my ancestors? Even I used to use a bullock cart in the village where I grew up. So whatever is available there, I'm using. You see, but I don't consider this extraordinarily wonderful world we are living in. There is a tremendous progress here. Tremendous progress, there is no doubt here, but progressively we are moving in the direction of wiping out everything, you know. So that's why I have no respect for human race.
They're not existing anyway. They're not real. There is no reality.
If there is no reality, that solves the problem, sir. It is not simple. You can't say there is no reality, you know. Come on.
So on the one hand,
there is no reality. As an intellectual concept, you can say. It's just a very dangerous. It's a very the consequences. The consequences of that situation are tremendous. You see. You know, I was telling this friend the other day. You see, it's the pressure movement is knocked off, everything goes. Somebody was discussing with me jealousy. Look here, buddy, you see, if jealousy goes, you know, the thing that is responsible for jealousy goes. There can't be any sex afterwards, there can't be any woman, there can't be anything else. Along with it, everything goes. It's too dangerous. Don't play with all these games, just forget it. And live in misery and die in misery.
You didn't get where you are by listening to anybody.
I'm sorry, I owe nothing. I owe nothing to, what is the correct way? The American, I owe nothing to anybody in this world. You may feel that, you say, I'm making a meaningless assertion. I did see many people, you say, I talked to many people. Nobody ever helped me. Not that, you see, I have gotten what I really wanted in my life. You see, the hunger for finding out things for myself and myself was never satisfied. It burnt itself out. That's all. I have stumbled into a situation despite all those people who tried to put me on, you see, the wrong track. You see, there is a cake here. Don't bring in your socialism, capitalism.
Why not? You're prejudicing the case before you make it good.
There is a cake here. You see?
Cake's too small.
You have to fight for your share in the cake. The society, the culture tells you we are going to educate you to fight. How to fight, we will teach you. If you want a larger piece in the cake, you have to fight. Tread on the toes of everybody.
Even if you want a small piece, you have to fight.
No, if you say I am satisfied with small piece and feel hungry and die hungry, it's too bad. Too bad. Don't make a virtue of your poverty. No. You have to fight for your share in this world. So it is your responsibility, if you want to call it a responsibility, you see, to give him a tool. You see, but it's...
And the rest is brainwashing. Is that what you're
Rest
saying?
is brainwashing. We have been fed on this bunk for centuries. If the diet were to be changed, we would all die of starvation tomorrow.
But that doesn't apply to cells. They cooperate with the cell beside each cell.
They are selfish to the very core.
But
And you have placed before mankind the idea of a selfless society. Where is the selfless society? It is that is perpetuating, you see, this selfishness. That's what I'm pointing out. Tomorrow you are going to be a selfless man, for whatever reason. So until then you will remain a selfish man. Tomorrow, until then, you will remain selfish. So when tomorrow arrives, the day after tomorrow, and the Indians are very clever to talk of next life, you see, I don't know, 84 million lives, you see, you have to go through. The Indians knew very well, they did not promise enlightenment, you see, in this life, you have to go through, you know, several lives. Here all these people, the jokers in the marketplace, you know, each one trying for a piece in the business, they offer you see, here and now. There is no now, sir. Where is now here? Here and now, this moment. What is it that they are talking about? This is the now. You tell me something about now. There is no present at all. Forget about the future. Here is the now. Tell me something about it. I'm not your teacher. You please tell me what is this now. The now, the eternal, here and now, this moment. living from moment to moment. It's a joke, great big joke. You see, it's a sales speech, living from moment to moment. The mind cannot live from moment to moment. It's not interested. The body is living from moment to moment because it is not thinking in terms of permanence. It knows, quote and unquote, that this is immortal, not in the sense in which you use the word immortality. There is no depth to it, you see. It may not remain in this shape. It is no consolation to my wife or husband when this is reduced to ashes, or you see, becomes a food feast for the worms, or you see, the vultures. So somewhere it is no consolation. But how can you experience death? Death can never be experienced. Just the way you see life cannot be experienced. The experiencing structure will not be there to experience your own death, you see, or the death of others. The condition of a stiff, the condition of that body, you see, is described through the help of that word, is dead, you see. So there is life, you can't say it is dead, it is not responding to the stimuli, but millions and millions of, you see, germs are living on that, you see, it is giving continuity to life. So this is not interested in thinking in terms of, you see, 1 year or 10 years. If there is a confrontation of danger of extinction of this body, everything that is available, see, within this framework of the body and around this body is thrown into the situation, and it fights until the last, and if it survives, the next moment is guaranteed for it. So it lives from moment to moment, you see, the body. But the mind that is interested in continuity, permanence, can talk of living from moment to moment, you see, and make a business out of it, but there is no such thing as living from moment to moment in that area. It's just not possible. If it is possible, good luck.
So there is no place for values in education?
I don't know. I'm not you're a teacher?
Yes.
What do you teach? What do you teach, if I may ask?
Mathematics and
mathematics.
computer applications.
Is there number 2 without number 1? Is there number 2 without number 1? You see, mathematics ultimately ends up in mysticism. You see.
You said that you cannot experience your own death. That's because you don't know. You really something that you don't know.
The experiencing structure that is there now has to come to an end before what you call death can take place. What you call, I am qualifying that, you see, clinical death. So even the death of your own dear and near one, that is not the death that you are experiencing, is what I said. You see, give a name to that and call it, you see, the person is dead, because
it's in a different state.
No, because you see that death has created a void in your life, and there is no way you can carry on, maintain the same relationship with that cause. So you call it to dead and dispose it off. You see, for our own reasons we dispose it off. You see, otherwise it stinks. A saint or a sinner, it goes exactly the same way.
It seems to come back to the
point.
Experiencing structure. There's the experiencing structure, and then there is that which is not. And
where is that? I am asking you.
Well, that isn't clear, because I said it was built in.
You are the one to answer, not what others say. Right. How do you experience a thing? Tell me.
Well, as far as
you are repeating, just throwing words at me. It's a mechanical thing. You see, that's all that is going on there. What is put in there is coming out of you. Just the way I am operating here. Something, you see, you are throwing the ball, so you are getting it back. That's all. It's a puppet here. I am saying that we are all, you see, puppets for the universe, for the nature.
But people don't want to listen because they cannot imagine that they're a puppet. It goes against everything that they believe in.
Even if we are puppets.
So they don't listen.
No, because you see, you believe in the freedom of action. Where is the freedom of action there for you? You please tell me. You have to use those thoughts which are not yours. They are not mine. Probably they are yours. I don't have any thought which I can call my own.
Well, see, for me.
So since I don't have any thoughts which I can call my own, I don't have any experiences which I can call my own. Just, you see, a tape recorder, whatever is put in there comes out. It's a computer. It's a robot. Sorry, you may not like it. You may feel proud that you have invented the robot. You see, I was saying, the robots can, you see, discuss your problems in the hospital. They can communicate to the doctor, you see the problem, get the prescription, feed, they change your clothes, they give you bath, they do everything. I made some ridiculous, somebody was upset. You see, you can have even, you see, a live-in lover, Robot lover.
Going too
Any
far.
fantasies you want to satisfy and stamina, you have to order that kind of a robot. I'm sorry, but you don't want to accept the fact that we are all computers, machines. We are all monkeys, imitate monkeys.
Well, I would say-
You think you are different. Everything you are doing, every gesture of yours, every word of yours, every expression of yours is taught by somebody. What is so marvelous about you? I don't say anything.
Maybe not.
I did not descend from heaven, you see, with all these qualities.
Yeah.
I learned everything. Everybody taught me. Huh? I may have added something more, you see. I may not even be conscious of the fact that I pick up all those things from different situations in life, different ways, you see. You are not even conscious of the fact how this sponge is picking up all those things. Now they say the genes, you see, decide, it's a language, you see, not alone the capacity to learn the language. I don't know, I'm not competent enough to say that there seems to be something to what they are saying. You move, you see, in the direction and put yourself in a place where, you see, the genes can bloom. Automatic, you see. So where is the freedom of action for you? There is no freedom of action, there is no free will. I'm not talking of the funny fatalistic philosophy of India. You don't have any freedom of action there. Like it or not.
It's not clear that we don't.
You have? Tell me.
No, I'm not saying
You may
I
have
do,
freedom
but-
of action, you see, to come here or not. Even there, I don't think how much of freedom of action you have. I really don't know. I don't have any freedom. Every time I come here, I have to come and eat Narayanmurthi's food. This time I asked these friends, you see, can you please come and tape it out? You say, I want to put it across something, you know, and then finish.
Yes, sir.
Why you may very well ask
The
me
question is what you're putting across. That's our square number one question.
I said at the very beginning, this is like, you see, some labor that is going on here. Some, I know, what do you call that woman who comes and delivers the babies? Midwife.
Midwife, right.
I don't know how qualified you are. Probably
Yeah, well,
you are not.
we're trying.
You have the wrong training.
We're
What
trying in the
the result
midwife
of it will most probably be a stillborn child.
Yes, probably.
And I won't consider a stillborn child anything
It's still
better
something,
than
you know. It's a phenomenal thing.
something.
A stillborn child is a commodity. You can look at
no,
it.
it's very much alive. Lately, I've been telling people you will be useful to nature dead than alive. More useful. No, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. I'm ready to place myself at the disposal of nature at any time.
You see, sir, this, what was it we just mentioned, the thing we throw out here, it's, something is happening where somehow seem to be talking to each other, seem to be.
Right.
And in this talking, you're not participating in our logical games, okay? Knowledge games and logical games. And yet you talk, and yet you seem to be doing something, and our minds of being philosophers, nice peel cobweb systems.
That's why I'm
all of
asking
them.
you, Dr. Narayanmurthi Garu.
Yes.
You write something about me. See where you can fit me. Your professor
right,
said, I
exactly.
can't put you in a. What is your name? Srinivas Rao said, you see, Chandrasekhar pushed him. You say something. I can't put this fellow in any cage. So we let this bird fly. That's the way out.
Yeah, but we have to try out some more theories before we give up. We have plenty in our pockets.
Yeah, I know that.
The next one comes around and
Yes.
says, here, listen, you're not participating in our games. This is square number 3 or 4 along the line. You're not participating in our games, but it's not completely nothing you're doing. You seem to be doing something. Could it be that you're a skeptic who refuses, who only is interested in destroying other people's constructs, but not interested in participating in the game?
I think even a skeptic has a motivation, you see, just to achieve some result, you see. It's very easy for you, you see, to put a label on me, call me a skeptic, call me a nihilist, call me an atheist, you see. When I say that God is redundant, the creator is irrelevant, it does not mean that I'm an atheist, you see, or no place.
We'll use your own words, sir, and put you in a pocket. I mean, a package like this. Well, use something like this. Here you see, this is a philosopher, somebody, sort of philosopher, who is shooting down with some kind of energy, perhaps in language which people use, to destroy their thought
I'm not even
systems.
good at that. You see, if you put them on paper, you will be surprised.
Yeah,
Not one sentence is complete here.
Yeah, the problem with you is as soon as we said that, you are something else. We can't put you even in your own cage, in other words. We have trouble.
How do we resolve this problem?
Are you?
Yeah, it's purposely misleading.
One purpose is,
There seems
we
to be
have
some
had a very
community.
nice lunch here.
I mean, there seems to be some common ground of communication. We don't ask you your name and then you say, "Oh, it was
That's
a
all
nice
that I can
salad,"
tell
or
you.
something.
Even that is, I don't
Some
know why.
appropriateness in the responses that we get from you. Your responses are not completely unrelated to our questions.
They are related.
Listen, you see, no. What I am emphasizing is a very simple.
What?
You see, you really don't have any questions. You only have answers. So you want me to indulge in this frivolity of a ritual-like thing and indulge in what is called question and answer meeting. You are asking questions for which you already have answers. You see, I am a village idiot, village bumpkin. I don't have any questions which you have. I did ask some questions because I was an idiot, you see. So I know that, you see, how come you have all these questions? Where do they come from? You already have the answers. You see, the problems you want to discuss. You have the solutions. I don't see any problem there. What is the problem I am asking you? I don't see any problem there. And you have solutions, and no time you are ready to accept the hard reality that they are not the solutions for the problem. So you are going here, there and everywhere, finding out, you see, whether there is anybody who can offer me another solution. So in exactly the same way, you see, you want another answer for your question. Why you are not satisfied with all the answers you have? Why you are still asking the questions? You have the answer, so I don't want, you see, to participate in this question and answer ritual. You see.
So you're saying
I have no answers at all for your questions.
Do you have any question of your own?
Restructuring. Huh?
Do you
I
have questions of your own?
I have only
What
basic
are your
questions.
questions?
Basic questions: food, clothing, shelter.
Beg pardon?
Basic questions. Where do I get, you see, my brown cow yoga? That's all, you see. Okay, where can I buy that small cheap bag for travel bag for me? Kmart. Are you, with all that you have, with your beauty, with your this, with your that, you see, are you happy?
Well, we want
I
to be
don't
happy.
know what happiness is like, you see, so I can't be unhappy.
So you're describing your position in life, how you feel yourself related to life.
No.
You say, I'm unhappy.
No, you see,
And I'm
I
not
don't
happy.
know what happiness is like. See, people always throw this question at me, you must be very happy all the time. What is it that they are talking? I really don't know what happiness is, so I can never be unhappy.
So
I know what gives
that's
you...
your status, is not mine.
I don't know what is yours. Since I don't know my situation, how can I know about
You're
yours?
telling him that he's not happy and you're not happy, you don't know happiness. How do you know that I don't know happiness?
A happy man would never seek happiness. That's obvious. It's for you. How can you...
It's not a continuous state.
It is.
In order to...
That's exactly what I said. You want...
Permanency is what
You
we
is
want.
interested in happiness without one moment of unhappiness.
Right.
That is the quest. That is the search.
And like Dr. Faust, give me a perfect moment. In that.
I don't even look at flowers. So,
Dr. Faust.
Eugene,
Yes,
I
sir.
like you a lot, but I wonder if this is a little bit of a showmanship pose that you're assuming. I think there is more depth in you than that.
more depth in me than that. You see that I don't see.
Well,
I have no way. First of all, I'm not a
There's
showman.
entertainment going on here. This
Yeah,
has
it's
entertainment
an
value.
entertainment.
People seem to be enjoying themselves. I
Yeah,
don't know why.
If it has served that purpose, it's fine.
It's not bad.
It's fine.
We'll collect fees for next time. Entrance fees.
cover charge.
I don't
I see you
mind.
smile, I see you laugh, you have a great sense of humor. So
Your consul asked me, you don't have anything nice to say about America. I read in the newspapers, why you want to go to the United States? I said, you see, America is what can America offer me? And then why are you going? She said, you see, I'm going because America is a land of entertainment. I'm going to entertain myself and I have the means to entertain myself. If you say no, good luck. No.
That worked the last couple of years, usually, but you're tired of TV, you don't go to movies anymore. There's something else.
No.
you like
Still,
to
your
do.
commercials are
Oh,
very
commercials,
interesting. You don't want. That's the only thing that I enjoy here. I am taping all those commercials. You will be surprised. The Indian little children, you know, is it 5 years old, 6-year-old children. You see, they are enjoying all these commercials there. The jingles.
They are good.
Bad. You see, everybody is singing there.
If life is so meaningless, why not enjoy the little things of it, you know?
I can't say
You
life
have
is
to
meaningless.
entertain
You see,
yourself
listen,
as
when
we
we talk of life, we are talking of our living. See, we don't talk about life, we
Life
really
in
don't know. Our living doesn't seem to have any meaning. That's why we are asking the question, has life any purpose, has life any meaning? You see, once a 95-year-old man in Bangalore came to see me, he asked me this question, has life any purpose, any meaning? I said, what are you talking? You have lived 95 years, you haven't found the meaning or purpose of life? In 95 years, why are you asking me that question? Obviously, you haven't found the meaning. There may not be any meaning, you see, except to go on asking the question. By the time you get the answer, if there is an answer, you will have been dead, you see. You know? Huh? So then he asked me the next question, you see. I have lived 95 years of my life. I have written books on spirituality, published them. Everybody has read, you see, and they have not helped me, you see. I have written books on the question of death, even. He is still alive, I think, 105 or something like that. And he asked me a question, what will happen to me when I am dead? So you are the only one that can answer the question. I said, you see, look here, you have lived 95 years. You may not have many more years to live. You will find out when you are dead. Why should I give the answer? It was not a clever answer. There is no use of my telling him that there is no such thing as death, that there is no such thing as reincarnation. So tell me, what is there now while you are living? Why are you concerned about reincarnation? If you want to know death, the answer to your question, what is death? Is there anything after death? You have to die now. At this moment, then only you will get the answer. No matter what I say is of no importance to you. It is not such a burning question for you. The fear of coming to an end, the fear of what coming to an end, the fear of what you know coming to an end, that's all that you are concerned about.
No.
So we are not, there is no such thing as the fear of the unknown. You do not want the fear to come to an end. You love fear. All these therapeutic cults can exploit you and tell you to be with fear, be choicelessly aware of fear, one with fear, that, this and the other. But the fact of the matter is that you don't want to be free from fear, because the end of the fear is the end of you. You don't want such a thing to happen while you are enjoying your fear. Enjoy your fear and love your fear.
And what do you feel about it?
About
what
fear?
What do you feel?
About fear.
You have no fear?
Physical fear, yes, I have physical fear.
So you do have fear.
Physical fear, and it doesn't last long. There is no reason for me to go into the question of fear. By the time you see, you know that you are...
You are a degree of fear like the rest of us.
Not degree, totally.
No, you have a degree of fear.
Not, you are introducing degree. You are introducing degree. I am not introducing degree at all.
Well, you say,
see, because the fear,
you have no fear, listen.
It is the fear that the fear is necessary for this to protect itself.
Right.
So if you see a cobra, it steps back.
That's right.
And then from that moment on, this and the cobra take a walk and sing songs together. But you can't do that, you run away.
So
you cannot do me any harm.
To the fear that you don't give it. Our thinking process gives a continuity to the fear that you don't.
The cobra smells the smells that you emanate, you see, your fear. So it has to take the first step and not let you use your thinking and then use the weapons that you have at your disposal to kill them. You are not killing one snake, you are killing millions of snakes. You see, you don't seem to understand one thing. Any event that occurs here is affecting the whole thing. It's not an isolated event, you see, at any time, at any given time.
But you say we don't understand that.
I
knew that before I came here.
I don't understand either. You see how it is
So
happening.
you can't do just one thing then.
We want to understand, that's the problem.
You
we
want to
make a
understand?
system out of whatever
I
you
don't
say.
know how the hell you are, you
Because
see.
it contradicts
Because you
yourself
are
in the next
asking the
moment.
questions, you are throwing all those questions and responding. That's all.
But it's the only reason to be here is to like you, but I won't be here if I didn't have wanted to ask questions.
You can
You
go on
asked me
asking
to
questions.
ask questions.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So thank you, sir. I have considered. How long? You have enough You still have questions?
Yeah.
Yes, come on.
I'm really not very interested in making a system out of everything. It's just a matter of survival.
Tell me, what have I said all this 1.5 hours in one word? I'm not your teacher. I'm asking you.